This woman is in a kennel. She's got a leash around her neck. She eats dog food and lives like a dog. She's huddled in a tiny kennel. She sleeps and goes to the bathroom in a trench. If she resisted, she was subjected to inhuman punishments. It's a sick social experiment. In broad daylight, the girl, Lisa, was tied up in a car, and then she was knocked out. When Lisa woke, she found herself locked in a kennel, and she was wearing a leash around her neck. The other end of the leash was attached to concrete. There was nothing she could do to break free. She tried to call for help, but she was alone in the kennel. She looked toward the door. A man in a gas mask was staring at her. Lisa was filled with fear and despair. She huddled in her tiny kennel for the night. The next day, the gas mask tester brought her a treat. Lisa rushed to ask them why she's being held here. They just gave her a sign to shut up. Lisa asked how to go to the bathroom. She pointed to a trench and left. Lisa picked up the food and smelled it. She realized it was dog food. She angrily puts the food aside. A moment later, the lights went out. She spent the night curled up in a kennel where she couldn't stretch her legs. The next day, the tester brought another dog treat. When he saw that Lisa hadn't eaten, he took all of yesterday's food. On the third day, after 3 days without food, she was starving. The tester placed the dog food far away from her. Lisa couldn't reach it. She had to use her feet to hook the dog food to her. Then she got up and started eating. Just as she finished, the lights went out again. When she's full, Lisa resists by banging her doggy bowl against the wall. But within moments, she suddenly fainted. Apparently, the dog food had been drugged. The next day, the tester came to deliver the dog food. Lisa was still sleeping. She didn't respond to kicks, so the tester woke her up with a high-pressure water jet. Lisa finally couldn't take it anymore. She asked the tester when he was going to let her go. But Lisa, who had been cleaned up, was really put outside, and he left her alone to walk around outside. Lisa thought, is he gonna let her go? But then the loudspeaker announced that she could only walk, not run. When she heard that, Lisa immediately picked up her pace. Then she realized she had a pneumatic collar around her neck. As her pace increased, the collar filled with air pressure. It was squeezing the air out of her. Just as she was about to go over the barbed wire fence, she passes out from the collar. When she woke up, she was back in her familiar kennel. A man's cries for help came to her ears. Lisa looked in, and there was a man. The two of them shared a compassionate conversation. The man's name was David. He didn't know why he was locked up here. He saw Lisa eating dog food. David warned her about the hallucinogens in the food. If she ate it, she would pass out. But Lisa was so used to eating it, she didn't care. She continued to eat. She even urged David to eat it. How could they escape if they didn't have enough to eat? In order to escape, David had no choice but to compromise. He picked up the dog food and ate it. As he ate, the hallucinogen took effect. They went into a trance and soon passed out. In her sleep, Lisa dreamed she was playing poker with David. They even had a name for the baby. When Lisa woke up, she couldn't get enough of the dream. She looked over at David. She didn't realize that in her sleep, they had been switched kennels. They were even closer. Lisa excitedly told David about her dream. But David doesn't have time for love. He just wanted to get out. He told Lisa about his escape plan. Lisa was very cooperative with him, so they started pretending to sleep in the kennel. And when the tester came to deliver the food, David dragged him to his feet and knocked him out with a punch. Then he takes the key from the tester. He unlocked the collars around their necks. David confidently reached out and invited Lisa to escape. And that's when it happened. David is knocked unconscious. Then Lisa yells at the camera. The camera pans out, and Lisa is already relaxing in the surveillance room with a cup of coffee. At that moment, a man with glasses and the tester who fed the dog food earlier walk in. Lisa is not scared. Instead of being scared, Lisa scolds them for not doing their job properly. He was able to get someone to take the key. It turns out that the trapped Lisa is the real boss. This is a brutal testing experiment where people are held captive. They test whether two people in captivity will fall in love with each other over time. Previously, Lisa had many suitors, but she was deeply in love with the headstrong David. To force David to fall in love with her, she planned this human experiment with her dog Liquor and her best friend, so that she could be with the man she loved day and night. She was sure that love would develop over time. After the problem was solved, Lisa was locked in the kennel again. When David woke up, he asked Lisa, did they escape? Lisa could only lie to him and tell him that he was probably hallucinating because he had eaten too much dog food. Since something like this had happened before, David was naive enough to believe her. It wasn't long before they were put outside in the open. Lisa hinted to David that it was time to run, but it was just a plan to fool David. They climbed over the fence and headed for the highway without looking back. But it wasn't long before the pressure collars around their necks began to tighten and they passed out from asphyxiation. At the last moment, David took Lisa's hand, but what Lisa didn't expect, she woke up as a lamb to be slaughtered. Then the man with the glasses came in. He gave Lisa a shot of hallucinogen. Her best friend saw the glasses guy's behavior on the monitor and was very confused because it was way outside the scope of the experiment, so she forced him to release Lisa. They had a big fight about it. That's when the glasses guy showed his true colors. He stabbed her when she wasn't looking. Her best friend falls into a coma. When she woke up again, she realized she was locked up with David. She also has a pressure collar placed around her neck. In this situation, her best friend can only tell David the truth. David is devastated to learn the truth. He wanted to save Lisa. He didn't realize that Lisa was playing him for a fool. Lisa was furious when she saw what happened, the relationship she had cultivated with David, and that's how it was ruined. At that moment, the man with glasses came in. She asked him to take her to them, but he took her to another dog park. There were over 50 men chained up. All of them were Lisa's boyfriends from grade school to work, and all of them had hurt Lisa. It turns out that glasses guy has always had a crush on Lisa, but he could only appear as a dog licker, not being able to find true love all the time. He became more and more perverted, so he brought in all of Lisa's ex-boyfriends. Then he got down on one knee. In front of all the ex-boyfriends, he confessed his love to Lisa. This scene was so disgusting to everyone in the room. Lisa didn't panic in the face of this. Lisa didn't panic because she was planning her revenge on the man with the glasses. Next thing you know, the guy with the glasses is pushing her into a room. He kindly pulls out the remote control for the pressure collar. He tells Lisa she can kill whoever she wants, but Lisa knew she could have both, so she pushes everyone's remotes. And in an instant, all her ex-boyfriends were gone. Seeing such a heartless woman, the perverted glasses guy wasn't scared. Instead, he said he liked Lisa even more. Then he pushed Lisa into another room. Here he kept her best friend and David. And once again, he handed her a pressure collar remote. She had to kill one of them. On one side is her best friend who's like a brother to her. On the other, the only man she's ever loved. As far as she's concerned, if she can't find a man, she can't find another one, but there's only one best friend. She's her best friend. Her best friend. Her best sister. But Lisa pressed the button to let her best friend die, and the man with the glasses had already tampered with the remote control. It was David, whom she adored, who suffocated. He died of asphyxiation soon after. Seeing her best friend's grateful face, Lisa decided to end the game as soon as possible. She gambled on the glasses man's love for her. She controlled the remote control and suffocated herself. Sure enough, the man with the glasses was in a hurry. He quickly undid Lisa's collar and quickly did artificial respiration on her. Unexpectedly, Lisa bit the other person's lips. She then spat out a mouthful of blood. The man with glasses lost his reaction to the pain. Lisa took advantage of this and fled the room with her best friend. The man with glasses searched frantically. The three of them chased each other. Finally, they found Lisa behind his curtains. He grabbed Lisa by the neck. He asked her why she didn't love him. At that moment, his best friend, who was hiding, knocked him out with a stick. When the man with glasses woke up, he found himself tied up, and then they went on a rampage to get back at him. The girlfriends activated the pressure collar. Lisa didn't think it was exciting enough. Lisa didn't think it was enough. She used a baseball bat on him. He was in a lot of pain, and the guy with the glasses became one of the many ex-boyfriends. He became one of the many ex-boyfriends, but the story didn't end there, because she didn't like what her best friend told David, so she took a stick and sent her best friend away. Finally, she takes her best friend's glasses and lights up the lab and walks away. And that's the end of the story. In the movie, a young woman named Lisa is kidnapped from the street while she's running. Immediately after, she is trapped in a small, confined kennel and forced to follow her kidnapper's commands every day, mimicking the behavioral traits of canine obedience. Along with Lisa is Haddon, a young man who is held together and grows to know each other well. They begin to think of ways to escape from this fiendish place. Kidnapping, captivity, beatings, and abuse are not all this movie has to offer. And if the story were all about these elements, it would be a sadistic erotic B-movie with a focus on the hunt. But this movie is much more ambitious than that, as the story is full of gimmicks adding a backdrop of both brutality and nihilism. As a group of students put their dark ideas to work, under the guise of social use, the story doesn't start out as it is presented, but finds ways to move in a twisted and bizarre direction. The movie constantly sets up a new setting and then quickly replaces it with another, expanding the story step by step.